What's up, everyone? All right, so green day recap here in the small account. So now rallying back up with a big green day today. Unexpected. Well, it's Friday and I was red yesterday in my main account. I had sort of low expectations today, but I got green. Now, what we've had a little bit of in the last couple weeks is this sort of low flow, low volume FOMO MOMO, where we've seen these kind of big exaggerated moves on light volume stocks and low float stocks. HLBZ today, traded that in my main account and did really well. It initially started on pretty light volume and took off. But the first trade, I jumped in and man, it ripped. It moved fast and I got green in the small account and I added for a big trade in the big account and I lost on it. So between the two accounts, I'm down $12,000. So I'm red. I'm green in the small account, but I'm red in the big account. And I'm a little disappointed. So I'm gonna talk about that during the recap. The fact is, these low float, low volume Momo stocks, they can produce big winners, but they can be so volatile. If you don't get in the right spot or you end up chasing it too high, which is what I did in my main account, you can get crushed. And so these types of parabolic stocks can be my like Achilles heel in trading because I go for them because I see the big potential. And I sometimes get the big win, but I also very often can get crushed on them because I size up too much, too high, and then sometimes they just run into a wall, a huge seller. And you don't know if it's an institutional seller, an inside person selling. You don't know what it is, but you hit the wall and then they can tank. And that can be really bad. And it's hard to know with certainty over a long period of time what my net profitability is on, sort of those particular types of stocks. I talk a little bit during the large account recap about my metrics just based on volume. And the majority of my profit is on a stock that has at least 25 million shares of volume by the end of the day. So those are stocks sometimes that start on light volume but continue going higher because usually they have a good catalyst, they have news, et cetera, et cetera. So those are the ones I do the best on. The ones that are light volume, well, sometimes the biggest ones start light and then they take off. And other times they start light, they pop up, they fade, and then that's that. And unfortunately, that's what ended up happening today in the small account. So I got green because I was aggressive, jumped in, but then in my big account, chased it, thinking, home run potential, big move, fireworks. And I think I was trying to recoup some of the loss from yesterday. Well, I ended up losing 17,000 bucks on it. So up 5,000 in the small account, down 17 in the main account. Not a smooth day, but a good day to recap as always. And I hope you guys enjoy it. In case you didn't already know, trading is risky. Most beginner traders lose money. And especially with these really volatile stocks, these can be great, but they can also be really risky. So trade cautiously. Assume you will lose money and trade in a simulator until you have proven profitability. If you're profitable in a simulator, that's when, and only then, you start to transition into real money. But always starting with small share size, then increasing as you gain confidence and experience, and so on and so forth. My results are not typical, so you shouldn't try to blindly follow me or anyone else. All right, take it slow. Hope you enjoy the recap. I hope you also watch the large account recap, and I'll see you back here on Monday morning. Have a great weekend. All right, everyone, so today is day 42, small account challenge, and it's a surprisingly big green day. Now, what's disappointing is that the stock that I'm green on in the small account, I'm down 17,000 on in the main account, which puts me down $12,000 on GDEV. I didn't take any trades on HLBZ in the small account, but I did trade it in the big account for 43,000. So once I was red in the main account on this stock GDEV, I set the small account aside and my goal was just to try to reduce the damage in the main account. So if I hadn't gone red in the main account, I probably would have traded HLBZ in the small account, but unfortunately, because I was red, I had to just focus on recovering the loss, which I did manage to do on HLBZ, but anyways, it was kind of rough. So GDEV, HLBZ, both of these initially light volume stocks that started to squeeze up, both had news this morning. HLBZ ended up being the one that held. GDEV was not. So GDEV, as I sat down to look at the scans, the first stock I looked at was CRVS. And I thought, okay, this looks interesting over 375. And I put out an order, so it was ready to go at 375, but I didn't click on that, didn't click the buy button. I just had it basically entered. So the way I would do that, just for instance, is to go CRVS, and I can press Shift 3, which is the max shares I can take based on this price, and then I would enter the order like that, and then I can click the buy button when I'm ready. All right, so I had it ready to go, and then someone said GDEV. And I pulled up GDEV and I looked at the daily chart on it. And what I saw at the time was that all-time highs were 1105. So I saw 1105. I saw that it had news at 7 a.m. and it was starting to move a little bit. Now, it was on light volume. So initially, and we can even go into the 10-second chart on this so you can see with a bit more detail. So initially, when I looked at it, it was around 1158 or something like that, 1153, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. I don't know. It's light volume. I don't really know. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if I really looked at the volume, but nothing was really happening. So I looked at some other stocks. I was looking at CRVS. I was looking at IPHA, which was another one. HLBZ, the news hadn't come out yet because this was a little before 9. And in this candle right here, it spikes up to 1268. I saw that and I thought, oh man, here we go. Because that's over $1 a share. Then it goes up to 1412. Now, the problem for me on this is that I've taken a couple trades on light volume stocks like this recently, and I've gotten smoked. I lost on one trade like this in the small account, and it was a big loss. It was $2 a share. And I had another one in my main account where I went from up 27,000 on it, and I lost 60,000 and finished down 30,000. So I was a little bit hesitant, but the fact that it had already squeezed here from 1150 to 14, I was like, man, I can't not take it. So I punched the order in the small account for the break of 14. I bought at 14, 1,250 whatever shares. So this is twice the shares I traded because I bought and I sold. So I bought, and then it squeezed up to 15. And in my main account, I added at 16. It squeezes up to 17 and up to 18. In my main account, I added at 18, not in the 1890s, and I added again at 1993. So I added in my main account basically at the highs. And on this, what I was thinking about were some of these stocks that have made these epic moves pre-market, given the fact that this is a blue sky setup. It has no nearby resistance. It's a blue sky trade above 1105. These are ones that can make big moves. So I started getting aggressive and adding, thinking we were going to see 25, maybe 30, thinking about GLSI and some of these other stocks that have made huge moves. Once they start to move, they can really take off. And at that moment, it was, I think, the second or maybe the first leading gapper. It was tied with CRVS. But what I didn't check was the float. I didn't even look at the float. It was moving and I jumped in. On the first pullback, it retraced. We didn't get a first 1 minute candle to make a new high. I sold in the small account. I took the profit. And in the big account, I added. I averaged down. I averaged down and tried to dig my way out of the trade, hoping that it would come back up to 18, 19, and 20, hoping that the first 1 minute candle to make a new high would resolve correctly and back through the highs. And hope, of course, is not a strategy. And I was holding it from, at one point, green as it hit a high of 2086. And it showed 25 up on the ask. It was maybe 1 or 2 tiers away. But I was thinking, wow, this might give us that surprise fireworks move. And it ended up that it didn't. And I stopped out in the main account and lost $17,743. So this is sort of a bittersweet day, because on the one hand, it's a good day in the small account. It is. But it feels so disappointing that I lost as much as I did in the big account. And it's discouraging that it didn't hold up. So then when HLBZ started to pop up, initially I was cautious because I was already red on the day and I was approaching my max loss. So I didn't trade it in the small account at all. I just traded it in the main account. And then this one ended up squeezing, but I was so timid as I was trading it. And this thing ended up going from $10 all the way up to $18, $19. It became the leading gapper at 9 a.m. when the news came out. It became the leading gapper. And all of a sudden the focus shifted to this stock. And GDEV the chart was ruined. It had popped up and then it had just faded. So, it's tough on those types of stocks that pop on light volume. Both of them, HLBZ and GDEV, were light volume initially. And HLBZ is the one that ended up being stronger of the two. And perhaps the float was an indicator. Perhaps that the news broke right at 9 a.m. and HLBZ immediately responded was also an indicator. But it's just a little discouraging. And then you have this ETRF that we traded last week or earlier this week. So ETRF float 16 million shares on this one. And you got that afternoon squeeze on it from 12 up to 20. So a big, big move, but also on light volume. And I was disappointed that I had missed that one. But then it came down. And then the next day, Wednesday, squeezes up and makes an even bigger move. But again, on light volume, this initial move right here was like 100,000 shares and it had gone from $10 all the way up to $15.50. And then up here, it goes from 28 all the way up to $40. Relatively still on lighter volume. Higher at that time, though, is increase in volume. So yeah, today's a day where I feel a little bit frustrated that I kind of bought right into a squeeze. I thought it was going to make a big move. And I thought in the small account, I was going to cross $30,000 today. I was like, the small account, this thing goes to $25. This is going to be a $12,000 winner. So I got too aggressive. And I'm glad at least the preservation in the small account, because I didn't add higher and higher and higher and higher. I wasn't adding higher and higher. I just took one ad. At least on that one, even though it came back down, I was still able to sell for profit. But in the big account, I added way too high and I took a good size loss. So I'm discouraged on that. HLBZ, while it's a really nice $43,000 winner in the big account, I didn't get any of it in the small account. And the first 20,000 was just digging me out of the hole. So I don't know. It's a green day for the small account, and it's a green day for the big account. But it's not the greatest day. I'm discouraged that we didn't have better momentum, and it's a reminder of IMLP from last week. This one that I lost 30 grand on. And I don't understand why we sometimes have stocks that have great news. IMPL had great news, and ended up that it's now down over 50% from when that news came out. And I don't understand that. But I guess that's not for me to worry about. As a technical trader, just focus on the technicals and don't get fixated on what a stock should do or why one might do this and another might do something else. We don't know when we have insiders or institutional traders that may be selling into a big pop. We have these algo spikes, we have bull traps, we have bear traps, and the market, let's be honest, can be irrational. It can be irrational in a way where we see a stock like GLSI go from, what was this, $8 to $150 in one day. And it can be irrational where we see a stock that can go from 100 to 20 in one day, or from 20 to 10. So the momentum goes both ways. And for those out there that are learning how to trade, the trading is risky. And you got to practice in a simulator before you put real money on the line. But trading does not come without risk. And I step up to the plate. When I think something's going to go up, I buy and I keep adding. And when I'm right, I could throw down some huge green days. In my main account, I had a $102,000 green day on Wednesday. So I stepped up to the plate. And INDP, initially, this was another one that started on fairly light volume. A fairly light volume move right here. News came out and it goes up to from 9 all the way up to 12. I missed that move, but then caught the next leg of it going up. IRNT, another one from this week. Lighter volume. This move at 6 in the morning in one candle from 45 to 60 on 127,000 shares of volume. So for traders that were either in prior to that or were able to take profit into that, it's an opportunity, but it's risky stuff. So for those that keep trading today, trade cautiously. I hope HLBZ does hold up. It's pulling back a bit more right now than I'd like. And based on how INDP finished on Wednesday, I'm a little bit concerned about whether or not we're going to see good staying power. We keep seeing these, move and retracement, and I don't like seeing that. I want to see multi-day continuation. We got a little bit of it on IRNT. We got a little bit this week on OPAD. Had some multi-day continuation, but I'm looking for some, really nice multi-day continuation. I'm trying to think of LMPX. This was one. This was an IPO in December of 2019. This is multi-day continuation, when over the course of several days they continue higher. Boy, I can't wait till we have some of that again. It only strengthens the intraday setups when you have that multi-day continuation. And right now, we're seeing a lot of pops, a lot of drops, a lot of nasty bull traps, some big flushes. And if you're not careful, the gains go quick. And today and yesterday were both nearly red day recaps for me. Yesterday was a red day. Today was nearly a red day. But, this type of rejection right there, that one right there, it's not fun. So I feel for those that are red on HLBZ, it could have happened to me. Those on GDEV that are red, I'm red too. And I know how frustrating, I'm red net between my two accounts. I know how frustrating that is. I'll be looking forward to seeing clearer and cleaner momentum. And I still struggle with not knowing which ones are going to go and which ones won't. Of course, if I always knew, then I wouldn't have these big losses when I have them. But that's just part of trading. And this is the part of trading that makes it so hard to manage risk, especially in a small account, but just in general, is by the time they start moving, then you feel like you're chasing it. So I did chase this. And on HLBZ, I was nervous about chasing it because of what had just happened. But I did it anyways. I chased it anyways. And that's why I said, I'm going to embrace the chase. I'm going to go for it. And man, this thing just went 12.50 to 13 to 14. Then from 14 to 15 to 16 to 17. That's the one that worked, and it continued at the open. So maybe today I was a little too trigger happy, jumping in on a setup that was moving quickly without first checking the float, which is an important part of due diligence. Had I checked that, I might not have taken the trade. So that was a mistake on my part. And HLBZ, if I had just taken this one, I would have traded it more aggressively from the start because I wouldn't have been on the defense and in the red. Although maybe I wouldn't have made as much in my small account today. It's hard to say. Maybe I would have made even more. This one ended up having a nice move and it held its levels really well. So I don't know. But in any case, that's it for me. Green day in the small account, day 41. I'll be back at it on today is day 40. Is today day 42? Yeah, today's day 42. So I'll be back at it on Monday for day 43. And hopefully we can start the week with a nice gap scanner and some nice momentum. All right, that's it for me. Trade cautiously, and I'll see you guys on Monday morning.
And that right there was an entire video with no ads. I don't monetize my YouTube channel with video ads, which means you guys get to enjoy the content. But do me a favor, please hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up and let YouTube know that this channel is the channel to watch if you want to learn about day trading.